All right, let's talk about this film. I got to watch it. So much fun to watch. You are so good together. And there's a lot of you in the movie. Now, your director, Victor Levin, does not want to describe it as a romantic comedy per se. So how would you guys describe it?
Go ahead.
I would almost call it an anti-romantic comedy, but not. It's not. It's just so unusual because I think as actors, all of the romantic comedy scripts are just sort of like the tropes. You get really used to reading sort of this, and this one was just completely different. It's sort of like for grown-ups.
Yeah.
For like
A rom-com for grown-ups.
for a rom-com.
It's a romance.
It's a yeah. It is
with comedy.
Yes. So there. Yeah. So I'm wrong. But what I meant by anti is that it just kind of goes against all of those.
It's not love at first sight.
No.
But it is opposites.
And there is
Attract.
a meet cute.
There's a what?
A meet cute. That moment when your two characters
That's
meet.
it.
That's at the central point of
Yeah,
every rom-com.
A meet cute.
I did. This is the first time hearing of a meet cute.
Yeah.
Is this a?
I learned it in a movie. A rom-com, actually.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh my God.
That happens.
Wow.
And you guys have quite the meet cute. Now,
I meet cute him all the time.
that's because you
Like
guys...
every
Every
day.
time we see each other, it's a
I'm
meet
meet cuting him, but just
I'm
right
meet
now.
cuting you right now. What happens after? Anyway. Yes.
Let's talk about this relationship because Winona, you read the script, you signed on and said yes, and I read that you sent it to him. Why did you think he was the perfect person to play Frank?
Well, I was sent it. I kind of knew. I knew this. It couldn't work unless it was sort of the perfect people, and he was the first person I thought of. I did, however, think that you may not be available, but I was, and there is sort of an unspoken, like, we don't, there's always people trying to give us scripts to give to people, and then you get worried about the sort of cry wolf thing where like,
Right.
oh, no, I mean this, really read this one, but I once I kind of got him in my head, I just was like, I couldn't imagine doing it without him, and so thank God.
And you guys have a great relationship. You've known each other for a while. What about his personality did you think would really connect with this character? Because the character is a pessimist. He's kind of grumpy.
Kinda.
I'm being nice.
Yeah.
Kind of grumpy. Were there parts of him that you thought, oh, he'd be so good at this part?
I think.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think there was some stuff that neither of us had done,
Yeah.
which is always nice to be doing something new.
I mean, that's kind of what you wrote. You were like, I like this script. Would you check it out? I think I read it that night, and then I think I contacted you 2 days later and was
wow.
like, let's go do this. And, yeah, I was really excited to get a letter and email and from Winona
so nice
and
to hear
to get
because
this script. And it's a marvelous script. And I thought that, I thought it was really kind of modern and taking in a new way to do this idea of a relationship and the way that it does it. The dialogue's, cracking, and the characters are interesting. And, for me, it was really exciting to get the chance to work with Winona because I don't know if they know how adept you are at comedy.
Oh, yeah, I haven't actually. The comedies.
I mean, you do. I mean, you're
No, I've
you're
seen some,
known as like some
a
seminal.
long time ago, but it was all like black comedy or comedies where I was playing it so. You have to kind of. That's what I kind of think works with comedy. Is
Yes.
There's comedy that's like you're playing for laughs, or that you're the straight man, or Can you say straight man or straight
Any more
woman?
straight person?
It's straight person.
Sorry. But that I don't know.
And it was fun to see the two of you together again. I know that everyone is so excited to see this like ultimate 90s reunion. And why did you think this was the right time for you guys to reunite on screen as actors, but also come together and work for, it was 9 shooting days, together so closely? Why was this the perfect time for it?
Well, that sounds exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
I would literally do that right now. I would do that anytime. I mean, honestly, there's no one I'd rather do that with. It was great because I, you know, to also kind of have you to myself. Like you know, yeah.
To make a movie, tell a story. We got to kind of fall in love.
Yeah,
It was fun.
absolutely. I mean, and also, like the times that we've worked together. I mean, there is a. I mean, the times we've worked together has been sort of on ensembles, and so there's certainly Dracula. We had a lot of rehearsal and all that stuff in Napa. That was fun, but it was just I don't know. I do have a real affinity. I've always had such love and respect for him, and I remember Victor said when I first spoke with him. And I was like, well, who are you thinking for Frank? And he's like, well, it's got to be someone that you know, want to see every day, and you know, I like really like special. It's got to have that special. And I was like, oh, one. I mean, he was like the first thing, and I you know, I just feel so lucky.
And what was it about Winona that made you know, this is going to be perfect, this is a great pairing for me?
I think we make it good.
We got a very good couple.
You're a very attractive couple in the film, yes. I was like, they look good together.
No, we enjoy each other's company. We're a fan of each other's work. We work really well together. We have, I mean, you know, we have a trust, we have a rapport. We have a kind of that wonderful thing that, you know, working on the work, and then the moment that's after action where you just like, okay, what's going to happen here?
Right.
And that's really pleasurable, and you know, the characters are great. There's stuff for us to do.
Yeah.
And
but also, I felt, because this was very different, this material was different, and it was sort of ambitious in a way that I remember being surprised that I was so surprised when I read it, because they don't really make movies like this, you know, anymore. And so I was, but it was sort of nostalgic in a way, but I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt like there was really, I don't know, that there was something very, very special. That
it felt natural, is what it felt like. It felt like...
Yeah, but I've always felt like with Keanu, I've always felt, I feel very protective of you, but I feel like he would, I don't know, there's that I could try anything, and that he has my back, and that's rare, and it's also, it's just, it's a beautiful thing.
Now, speaking of nostalgia, how did the two of you meet? Because you've been great friends for a long time.
I remember.
Where did we meet?
I remember.
It was
exactly
in 90,
where we,
80,
no,
80s.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. So he did River's Edge and Heathers were kind of like these two like controversial.
Right.
And I wanted to audition for River's Edge, but I was like, my parents wouldn't let me because
of the content.
Because
the
there was a
subject
scene
matter.
that was like sexy.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was a big fan, but we met at the Independent Spirit Awards because
Yes, the breast.
That's how Hollywood.
So
You
by
met
the
on a
way,
red carpet.
no,
Hollywood,
no.
Roosevelt Hotel.
But it wasn't like it is now. It
No,
was like
it's the Roosevelt
folding
Hotel.
chairs. It was,
Yeah, it was
like
in
a
the
little
ballroom at the
room.
Roosevelt Hotel.
Yeah, and I remember that,
Yeah.
like they were like, who would be
Giving
your
awards.
dream to like present? I was like, oh, like I know,
Like every other girl at the time.
And then, but I remember, and there's like pictures from that day, so I remember. Yeah.
I love that.
And yeah.
Now, we love seeing you as this big blockbuster action star. This film doesn't have a lot of physical action in it. Is that harder to play for you or easier?
Yeah, it's not harder. Yeah, the physical. Well, there's actually a lot of physicality in this.
There's one
in this
scene
film.
where there is some.
Yeah, I mean, it's not action. It's not
Right.
that kind of thing.
You're
but
not
there's-
flying through the air on wires.
Yeah, but you're moving in space in certain ways, in relationships and spatially. But no, I love doing action, and I love doing rom-coms that aren't rom-coms, which are romantic and they have humor.
Yeah. I don't know why people don't cast me in action movies.
They should.
I bet this guy
I-
could get you in an
I
action
was
movie.
like, he was filming.
What do you want? You want a
in-
knife?
When
You want a
When
gun?
I was there, I was like,
Or you just
I
want a
should
button.
like show up as like the Machiavelli and like.
Oh, you
leader
want
of
to be
it
the
all.
mastermind?
I don't know. Like
Have a super
that would
fight
be
at
so
the end?
surprising.
I would love this guy. Yeah. Now, we have to talk about this role for you because this is such a departure from how we've seen you in Stranger Things, which is very dark and very scary at times. And you've grown up on screen. You're 13 and Lucas. What's it like watching these kids on set for you growing up in the spotlight? Do you worry about them?
Honestly, yes. Of course I do. But it's nothing to do with who they are. They're wonderful, but I just think it's a sort of a different world now, and you know, it's got to be
But a
really
different world, but different challenges.
Yes.
Because
But I
growing
just-
up in showbiz,
right.
historically, has been tough
Oh
on
yeah,
some
no,
kids.
Shirley Temple and Judy.
There's a
and-
history of
yeah.
being tough on the young ones.
Yeah, no, but I do, like, we've had front row seats to some, people that really, when you're a kid, you have to have that somewhere that usually your family, like the sort of unconditional, like where you can be like, oh, I want to do that. But they're great kids and they're handling it as well as they can. I just can't imagine how overwhelming that must be because of I think the internet and social media. I'm very grateful that we got to
Not have to have that responsibility.
yeah, not have to have that.
And now,
God.
you're grown-ups, and you still don't have that responsibility because neither one of you is active on social. And I noticed in the film, there's no technology in the movie. And I was trying to think, you don't have a phone, you don't call Uber for a cab when you get back. And I thought, why have you both chosen to stay away from that element of branding or promotion for yourselves as actors now?
For me, it's just a personal choice. I'm just a private person, and I don't really know. I don't know if I could even last a day on it. I don't, and I also don't know, and I just honestly,
We're just old.
we're just old people.
We're just old. We haven't modernized. We're like legacy. We're like a fine wine.
Quitting thing.
We're into humankind and
It's
emotions.
it's
and-
a generational thing, I think.
That's not true because there's also cats who are like our age and older who are totally
Really?
social and on it and doing it and swinging it and rocking
My
it.
mom is on Instagram.
Come on, don't. That's an old. Even your argument is old.
I know it is old, but people think that I'm so
But we're talking about
anti
we're
it.
doing a romance. We're doing a
Right.
thing. We're modern in the sense that the film is taking on this idea quietly, but kind of the thing is that the two characters are dealing with their psychology of their upbringing and their experiences, and I think that's a human issue, and it's beyond technology. Technology can be involved in that, but it's like, how do we feel about ourselves? What's happened to us? What kind of trauma or what kind of positive do we have? What kind of experiences? And then in the moment, how can we change? How can we confront our fears? How can we confront, because we deal with intimacy and expectation and what's going to happen in the future. You know, and these two characters kind of try and fight for being able to even have a moment where they can connect.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually important for anybody, for any kind of human and any kind of relationship. And that's what makes Destination Wedding good entertainment. This something
It's an
that
honest rom-com. That's what I got.
yeah,
from
but there's
it.
also something. I mean, it's hopeful, but it's also taking in, you know, a kind of reality of the human condition. You know, that you know, dealing with our paths and who we are, and how can we trust? How can we connect to another person? How can we not be afraid? You know?
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what was so refreshing about it, is that this felt like two people having a real human connection in a really honest way,
Yeah.
outside of just the crazy constant interactions that we have.
It's personal. It's one to one. You know.
Yeah, and there is sort of an element of like, this is they found in each other someone that they can just
Talk to.
like but go to another. I mean, you're not going to judge me because you're just as bad.
Oh yeah.
You're both equally kind of negative.
Yeah.
And there's this line your character says that there's someone, you say, I believe there's someone for everyone. And she really believes that in the moment.
Well,
Frank
I asked
disagrees.
him.
Yeah, you ask. And Frank
Like,
kind of
don't you
disagrees
think?
pretty harshly. In real life, are you more of a hopeless romantic or a cynic?
Can there be another one?
Yeah.
You can make
I
up
mean,
your own.
honestly, I think it's you look. Some people, it's wonderful to find that sort of the question of like soulmates, you know. But I do think there are people that don't. I mean,
No, but
it's,
Liliana's asking us: do we believe?
In
What do we
real- yeah.
What do we
Oh, okay.
believe
What do you
in
believe?
life? Do you believe
do I
in
believe? Do
true
you believe
love?
in
Do you-
love after
do you
love?
do love? Or are you a
Yes.
pessimist that it'll never work out?
I
believe in love.
I do too, especially with them.
Yeah.